All right, welcome back to Beyond the Sign. That's the new name of the show.
Beyond the Sign.
Getting a little bit deeper than just the average real estate show.
I love it.
Yeah.
I thought you said Beyond the Sun earlier. It was like,
yeah. What does Beyond the Sun have to do with real estate?
I don't know, man. Maybe you're working beyond the sun.
I'm trying to. It's a nice sunny day today. It was a little cloudy this morning, but got a little bit different show today. A couple things on the list, but before we get into that, how was your weekend? Solid weekend?
Solid, man. When it's summer and you got a bunch of kids, you're doing something outside. So we hit up, of course, a lovely kid's birthday party.
Nice.
Water slides and, shaved ice. It was really great. Kids had a good time. And really just heading to the pool a lot, trying to keep these kids' energy out while they have nothing to do all day.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And VBS has been huge for my kids. So shout out to the folks at Redeemer last week. Incredible VBS, really, really great. They're out at Fruit Cove Baptist today, so pretty cool. Kids love it, but really. I saw your wife there.
Yeah,
volunteering.
Shauna volunteered at Redeemer VBS. So did
I heard they have childcare, so I might be volunteering there.
Yes.
Next year.
Okay. So she volunteered. So she spent the whole week there. Our youngest Halen went into the childcare, and then our oldest Chanel also volunteered.
I saw Chanel there too.
As like an older kid volunteer or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that was good for her. That was good for them. Kind of wore them out all week, and then they went to, I think it really wore out because Shauna was sick on Saturday, didn't come out of the bedroom, which meant it was just me. But I couldn't enjoy the pool because I still got stitches.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my stitches to fully go away before I get in the pool. So we won't go deeper into that. But I had a pretty big week too. Wednesday night, so I was, and you can probably hear it in my voice. And then yesterday I was kind of sick. But before that,
there's a lot going around.
Okay.
Something.
And we got sick twice. I know this probably happens in your family too. Everybody got sick with like a stomach bug. And then once that cleared up, we all got sick with like a head cold. It's the worst, man, when that happens.
It
goes through.
Like one gets it, and you it's coming for you. At some point, you're like, well, I don't have it now. But a week later, you might be feeling
that would probably be the negative drawback to the VBS too. Anything where you just subject your whole entire family
together.
and your whole family, like somebody's gonna pick something up, but it's worth it, right? And so Wednesday too, I go to Project Savior Outdoors, which is a pretty awesome group for veterans, active duty, first responders, firefighters, cops, or whatever. So it's a real masculine group, big group, and I went down there Wednesday. So I'm coming off of being sick Monday, Tuesday. I go out there Wednesday and then decide to head down to the ranch. We go down there. We get down there at like 10:30 p.m., light the fire. We're sitting around. And then we go on an impromptu gator hunt in the middle of the night, man. I was out till like 3 a.m. Had to be in here the next morning because I got my monthly team meeting was that Thursday. So
I didn't record that morning because that would have been...
Man, we probably would have missed it, but that was a great time. So it's been a good week overall.
Maybe that would have been our best episode ever. Who knows?
Maybe, who knows? So we're going to change it up a little bit today. So we do a lot of, like we said before, we used to be kind of scripted and have a plan, and then we kind of got away from that. We're just talking, but we don't want to just kind of talk about the same stuff over and over again. Today we're going to dive into things that drive us nuts about the real estate industry, or maybe not the industry, but with agents and lenders, with our colleagues. We're going to try not to...
Some of the pros and cons, the good and the bad that we like about agents and lenders alike, right? So
yeah, and we'll try not to be too critical of the consumers or the clients today.
Yeah, we'll preface this by saying nobody's perfect. We get that. People make mistakes, but a lot of it is owning your mistakes, which we'll kind of talk about.
Well, it's pattern recognition, things that we see. So we'll kick it off here with the first one. Kicking, what is it, Trevor?
Yeah, my first one is don't kick the can down the road. So what does that mean? I'm from the South, so somebody up north, I'd be like, kicking the can down the road. What the heck is that? Basically, that says like don't just pass your problems off like it's not your responsibility. So a lot of times people are like, oh, yeah, we're waiting on a title company to get that one in, and you call a title company, like, no, we're not. We're not waiting on anything. It's like, no, you're you're telling us that the stock company's fault when it's actually you, and you don't want to own up to your own mistakes. And like I said earlier, you make mistakes in your career. If you don't, then you're not doing something right. You got to make mistakes and you learn from them.
Sure.
But the point of it is, like, if you're not owning up to your mistakes, then there's going to be a big issue there, and you're trying to blame a title company. Again, you're not building those really true relationships. So yesterday I called you and was like, hey man, small little mistake I made on this. I can fix it. Here's what's going on. You're like, cool, we'll figure it out. We'll work through it. I came to you as soon as I knew, right?
Yeah.
The worst thing you do is sit on it, hoping that it'll work itself out.
Yeah.
And it's going to blow up in your face. So be willing to own your mistakes. Don't kick the can down the road. If you got a problem, pick up the phone and call somebody. Waiting is never, ever going to be on your side. So if you're wrong, own up to it. Frustrating when they try to blame somebody else for their problems, and don't own up to it when it actually was their mistake in the first place.
Yeah, and part of that too, not just passing on problems, but just passing on other things too. Like sometimes there's simple questions. Like if I'm the listing agent, and sometimes the buyer's representative will be under contract, and they'll just ask like a retarded question, and I'm like, now you put me in a corner to be the bad guy to say no, or to be, simple stuff like this. Like, hey, man, I know we close on Friday. The buyers are driving in town. Can they park their car in the garage like Wednesday? And they ask me that, and technically I'm representing the seller, so I'm not supposed to just answer yes or no. So now I got to go to the seller and be like, hey, man, I don't think this is a good idea, but like, they want to park their car in there, and sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no or whatever, and I give them the reasons why they shouldn't. There's too many things that could go wrong with it, and now you're giving someone access to the house before they close, and who knows, maybe like if they're just parking their car in the garage, they're probably also going to be in the house, right? Because you're granting them access to the house, and now they're snooping around. Like you could blow a whole deal like at the finish line with this, but my point is, why is that buyer's agent, like if I'm the buyer's agent and the people are like, hey, we're going to be in town early, can you ask him if we can park our car in the garage? I'm literally going to not even ask the listing agent. I'm going to educate my clients like, hey, listen, you get access per our contract. You get access to the house after we close and after the deal is funded. So that's not really something that we can do. And also, there's too many things that could go wrong. If there's and on the flip side, what if like, and this is insane, but I've seen it before where like, what if you damage the house, or what if your car catches on fire in the garage? A whole number.
Unforeseen.
I've had people,
that could happen.
and vice versa. I've had it the other way with sellers. Like, hey, we're closing on Friday, but we can't get our moving truck till Saturday. And a lot of these things I know from experience, because this is a true story right here, where then on Saturday, after the deal is closed, and the new owners were like, yeah, that's sure, you can move out on Saturday. Then the sellers like back the U-Haul into the house and damage like the whole front of the house. So there's just too many things. Like, listen. And so part of this, like passing off problems, is also passing off educating. Like, don't even let those situations
It is, and
happen.
And if I mean, like, what have we had happen around here before? Like electric cars. Let's just say, like, let me park my car in the driveway. It's an electric. It's a Tesla, and then it catches fire and the house burns down. You don't own that house yet. The seller is then responsible.
Yeah.
The buyer can just back out of the contract, lose their EMD. Who cares about their earnest money deposit when the house just burned down?
That's right.
But now the seller is left with the aftermath of that just because they let somebody park their car in the front.
Right.
Now, that's extreme, sure.
Sure.
But that is something you have to think about, because there could just be that one-off situation where it happens. And,
Yeah.
People think, oh, they're being heartless and they don't want to help us out because we're in a tough situation. Like, no, they want to protect their investment.
Plus,
Bottom line.
I just don't trust people enough. If the house has a pool or something, like, hey, we just want to park our car in the garage, and then they go inside and decide to take a dip in the pool and break their neck or something. There's just too many things. And so, and especially I've learned in life, especially once you get to the finish line, like it's time. So yeah, passing on the problems, also just like to couple up to that, not really educating your clients with, what's in the contract and what the ramifications are of certain actions.
Yeah. And people too, just kind of playing off of this, but they will tell their clients what they want to hear, because they don't have enough experience or confidence to tell them what they need to hear because they want their sale or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it just could be small things like, look, this normally is not part of the process. I'm sorry, you guys can't take ownership early unless we close early. You can't, instead of being like, oh, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Yeah, I'll call them up and we'll get it worked out. And you know that's not true.
Yeah.
You're trying to make yourself look great for your client when in reality, you're doing them a disservice because...
Yeah, you're putting me in a corner. You want
yes.
me to look like the bad guy.
And now you're in a position where instead of working together as a team, listing agent, buyer's agent, and lender, now you're kind of at...
You're creating division.
You are, because now they're like, well, you want to move in early. And I said, no, now you're getting all upset at me and all these things. And really, they should have just been professionals in the first place and said, no, you can't do that unless we move the closing date up.
Yeah, so a big part of this is just kind of knowing how things work, bottom line.
But you want it to be a team mentality. Like everybody, the deals I've worked where everybody works together are just the best. And that's from listing agent to buyer's agent. Now, there's things about your client you have to protect, obviously,
right,
with the other parties. You can't just divulge everything to them. But being in communication and working together, it not only makes your transaction go better, but there's likely residual business you could potentially get from that by bringing everybody together and working great as a team. So for me, it might be like, hey, I did a great job. I communicated with this listing agent. They love me. The next time they got a buyer, now they're calling me to help them out because I did a great job on that.
Right.
So there are residual things that can come from just keeping communication lines open between all parties involved and doing just a professional job, with your home purchase, refinance, whatever I end up doing.
Next one.
It kind of comes in with what we just talked about. But as an agent, what I love is agents that are involved.
Agents that are involved.
And I don't just mean like stick a sign in the yard and, oh, here's the buyer, get them pre-approved. More like I'm communicating with them. There's certain things they may help me out with if it's like tricky or complicated.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times these agents, and you're building the relationship with them first, right? So you're getting to know them first. So they a lot of times will feel comfortable with you, maybe before they come to me, and same thing with my other agents. They feel comfortable with them. So I like to leverage that to where I'm working with the agent, they're working with me, we're communicating, we're kind of tag teaming it together, especially if it's tricky.
Yeah.
If you got the 800 FICO borrower, making $200,000 a year, they really don't need much help. But it's ones where their credit could be tricky or they need a little extra help. The agents that come alongside me and partner with me, I absolutely love it. The ones that just disappear and they think, oh, I got the buyer now, I don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
That's where your problems can come in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of agents that kind of disappear after the contract is signed, and that's pretty hard. And sometimes they're part of big teams or at these brokerages that have a different structure where it's kind of more of a machine. I've realized there's like showing agents and there's buyer's agents, and they'll go out and they'll get the people, they'll show the house, they'll get them under contract, and then they're passing like the file down to the next person, and it's a transaction coordinator or it's this other person. And all that's fine to have all those, but agents should still be available to answer. And I used to think it was brokerage dependent, but then I've worked with multiple agents at certain brokerages and found out it's not. Like some of them have great communication, some of them are really involved, and then others just take advantage of that system that they have built. Yep. And they're just like, I don't know what they're doing with their time, but they're unreachable. And then it's across the board, and I've had people where like you just can't get a hold of them. Now, the caveat to that is I'm talking about normal business hours during the week. I'm not the guy that tries to call an agent at 8:30 p.m. on Saturday, and then when I don't get an instant response, I'm saying, oh, yeah, this person doesn't communicate. Like, no, like during the week, because you got to understand what the banking world, the title company world, like they're closed all weekend anyway. So sometimes when there's certain things that like go out on like a Saturday night, it's like, hey, we can't even address this until Monday morning anyway. I try to educate my clients up front on that, but I'm talking about Monday through Friday, regular 9 to 5 hours. Like I should be able to get a hold of you. And a lot of times it's very frustrating because I'll call an agent at like 9 a.m., maybe 8:30. Then I'll try again at like 11, Then I'll try again at 2 and I get nothing. And then when I'm at home spending time with my family at 7:30 p.m., I get like a call from them or something. And it's like, holy crap, like where were you all day? Like how do you operate your business? And that kind of stuff absolutely drives me nuts when they're involved. And coming back to transaction coordinators, I think transaction coordinators are important. However, I'm not a big fan of the third-party transaction coordinator companies where you outsource it. It adds a level of confusion because there's already a title company, there's already a lender, there's already me at my brokerage. Now I'm adding a fourth company. And so for the client, the communication just gets kind of muddy and it gets confusing.
It does, and I'll jump in on this. You know, when you have a third party, and like if I have a client, like my reputation's on the line every time I have a client, right?
Right.
So you want to surround yourself with people that you trust, that are consistently going to do a good job for you. Sometimes when you outsource to a third party, you may or may not get somebody great. You might have somebody that just does way too much communication, and they're sending like 30
Yes.
emails a day, like, oh, hey, where's the appraisal? Like, the contract was yesterday.
Yes.
I don't have an appraisal today. And then I'm having to, because I don't want to delay, I respond to everyone that comes through.
Right.
But it's just a lot of work. So if you have the same person, you get a level of consistency. Same with my team. Like, I know how the process is going to go because we've done it a bunch.
Yeah.
If you keep bringing somebody from the third party, you might get a good one, but you might get a bad one. And, you know, how the client feels overall is extremely important. You could do an amazing job all the way through, 99% of it, and you get to the end and you fumble and you do a bad job.
Right.
That's what they remember. So it's got to be good from start to finish, and a team you can trust and provide consistency with.
Well, on some of these third parties, they're outsourcing to like the Philippines and other places, and so there's on top of it, there's just a language barrier, and it goes back to what I'm saying. 9 to 5 here is like the middle of the night over there, so like you're not getting any verbal communication at all. Now I've got here at Someday Homes, I've got a prospect that I'm looking to bring on. That's a transaction coordinator that's going to be here at the office, and then once I have that person and they're really good at their job, it's going to be awesome communication. And having somebody physically here in my office that manages transactions for me and my agents and is able to like, and I remember like when I had an in-office transaction coordinator for me as an agent, that was almost like my, like every day before I would leave the office, hey, what else do we need to get done today before I leave, before I go home? Make sure, who do I need to check in with? What files are you waiting on that I need to reach out and help move them along? And it was a really great thing. So I'm really excited about that. That's probably going to be like mid-July that I have that person.
Yeah.
And so moving forward, it's going to be just an awesome asset.
Yeah, I mean, this may sound bad, but we all hate like when, it's going to sound bad, but
I mean, it's fine.
when you're like, let's say you call a big company and you want some help with customer service.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's just like, I call my bank and it's like a dude from India. I got nothing against Indian people, but it's like sometimes you just want a different experience, and you have these transaction coordinators in other countries, which they're super cheap. I get it. Everybody's trying to save money in this inflation market, but
They have no clue what's
if they're
actually
like
going
communicating
on.
and you're putting your client on emails and there's like misspelled things or like the English is not right, you know, that looks poorly on you and how your client may end up feeling about that. And that's not every case, but you know, for me, I want to know who's working on my files, who can I trust, how can I keep this as consistent as possible and without my clients like feeling weird or awkward or uncomfortable.
Also, it's ridiculous. Like anybody who's an actual professional who actually runs a solid business, like we make enough money that if you're in a place where you're too busy to handle your own transactions and to be involved and you need to hire somebody, looking for the $7 an hour option versus hiring like somebody here who can physically be in your space, who is reachable on their cell phone, like hire the talent, hire the real person, and take care of your customers versus trying to maximize your profits and minimize your overheads just so you can spend more time by the pool. And like,
Don't go to Temu for your
Doesn't make any
transaction
sense.
coordinators, folks.
doesn't make any sense. All right, moving on to the next one.
All right.
I've been doing this for 30 years. Gosh. This one, man.
The stubborn agent.
So the first one I've got with this too that I see a lot is like we use a system, and it's called showing time. So when I put a listing in the MLS, I set up showing time, And it's really convenient because when I'm sitting here, and again, sometimes going back to this working during the day, I work in the business during the day. Sometimes I work on the business in the evening. So sometimes throughout the day, I'm having conversations with people. And then maybe after my kids go to bed, I got a few tasks I got to do because I stay busy and I do that level of volume. And I need to schedule some showings. So there's a great system for it because at 7, 8 p.m. at night, I can sit down at the computer. I can build, look at my person search. Then I can say, okay, these are the homes we want to see. Probably, usually I try to make sure I'm doing this at a 12-hour notice, sometimes 24, because I understand people have a life. But when I'm getting on there and I'm putting, there's a little button, and you click this button, and then a little calendar pops up, and you see what the availability is to show that home, and you kind of coordinate between 4 or 5 different homes, and you send in the request. And a lot of them come back instantly green. Some, it's not till 8 o'clock in the morning, which is fine because the system is built to where it doesn't text people at night, crazy enough. It waits till first thing in the morning to text them and say, hey, you got a request for a showing. So it's a really convenient system. Some of these older agents, for whatever reason, they won't activate it. And instead it'll say, call a listing agent. And sometimes it's on homes that are completely vacant, that nobody lives in. And I don't know what their hang up with this system is, but at 8 p.m., I'm not calling the listing agent. And so guess what? Then I call them at 8 a.m., no answer on the phone. Call them at noon, no answer on the phone. And sometimes we miss those properties because they don't want to do that. That's one part of that crowd. The other part is anytime that you are writing an offer or you put something on it, and it's not all of them, but the ones that give you this, because there's some agents who've been doing it for 30 years. Here's what's crazy. The agents who have been doing it for 30 years and never talk about doing it for 30 years are typically pretty good. Yeah. And you just know that, right? And if you give them something on a contract, they're like, oh, yeah, this is great. I've seen this before. I use it this way myself, whatever. They have experience. But the ones that push back on you always like to say, I've been doing this for 30 years. We don't do it this way. And you're like, that's probably why you're still doing it.
Back in 1973, we didn't have to do this. I'm like, well, it's not 1973. It's 2026, and the internet exists. But it's just, to me, it's kind of the same thing as the inexperienced person that just acts like they know everything. They're not open to suggestions or learning the right way to do things. Same thing the other side of that. I've been doing this 35 years. They're unwilling to adapt to.
They're real chatty too.
A market that is clearly going in a different direction, very internet based. It's not just getting on the phone and getting my pager and going showing some houses. I have nothing against people that have been in the industry a long time, but when they use it as I know everything and I'm unwilling to adapt, then that's when it gets frustrating. Okay, clearly I'm not going to be able to communicate that much with you through this. But this is what needs to happen, and you're telling me it can't because you didn't do it in 1970.
Yeah.
So
it's tough, man. It is a tough
Are these
thing.
all bad? Do we have any good ones? I don't know. Maybe we'll get
No, it's fine. That's the whole point. These are the things that drive us nuts. I mean, they definitely, I think it's fair, man. And I think people, listen, we work in an industry that's not necessarily tangible. You can't reach out and touch it. I don't build decks. I don't build fences. So you don't pay me money and then you have a product that you can touch. I mean, outside of the house. But we work in an industry where everything we do is behind the scenes. And a lot of times, people are kind of like, what do you do? And this is part of it. Dealing with these issues, dealing with these challenges, getting over these hurdles, and our skill set is part of that. So we see these people, and I've been doing this for 30 years, drives us nuts, or the people who aren't involved. I mean, and I have enough experience, and I've worked with enough agents that when I'm first sitting down with my clients, we talked about this on another episode where I'm like, hey, I know this agent. They're not going to communicate with us, so I'm going to be driving. And sometimes I'm not just working my end, but I'm working both ends of the deal to keep the deal going. But I know that up front. But that's a lot of the intangible stuff that we deal with behind the scenes. So maybe it's entertaining to kind of to voice these complaints or these things that drive us nuts, but it's also giving the consumer a little bit of insight into how the things we deal with. And it's also for the agents out there, I'm working on growing this brokerage. Like, hey, we have experience in this stuff too that drives you nuts just as much as it drives us nuts.
Yeah.
And we can work together to kind of overcome it
Yeah.
and get a good positive outcome for our clients.
And I think about like, the old farmers commercial. We're like, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. And I feel like this is very much the same thing. Like, there was once upon a time when we were little newbies in this industry. Me, it was like 2011.
Yeah.
You're getting in, you think you know everything, and you're a freaking idiot. You are. And like, and if I had the mentality of like, oh man, I've closed X amount of deals and I know everything, like, it's gonna be a long road. And I think there's grace for people that are inexperienced. I have so much grace. Somebody comes to me and like, hey, I don't really know this. Would you help me? 1,000%. I will tell you everything.
Right.
The agent that comes to me is like, oh, no, I don't do that. Well, but with an attitude and they're inexperienced or they're overexperienced, whatever it is, it's just coming from a place, I think, of humility versus a place of pride. So
yeah, I agree. And here's the other thing. Last thing about the 30-year agents. In 30 years, the last thing that I want to be doing is scrambling to get leads, calling expireds, calling for sale by owners, doing open houses, doing all that. So if that's you and if maybe some people that's their life dream, maybe they love it that much, but I'm going to tell you, most of the agents I talk to, that is not their goal in life. They want to create some other kind of business, some other kind of source of income, and nobody wants to be, and this probably isn't just real estate, this is all other corporate worlds. Nobody wants to be in sales for 30 years. It's exhausting. And you're answering the same question. I don't want to, like, listen, we've talked about it, all the anxieties that clients have, all the questions they have. Every transaction is different, but those are relatively the same. I don't want to be doing that week after week for 30 years. So I do have, it's kind of like when I was a kid and I worked at Chick-fil-A and I saw like grown-ups working there, and this might be a little offensive to people, but I don't really care because that's who I am. But like, I didn't understand.
You're gonna offend my brother-in-law.
I was like, I can't wait till I have a real job. And then I'm looking at these grown-ups, and I'm like, oh, I don't think you're supposed to be working fast food at 55 years old. Like,
unless you own the place.
Yeah,
They're probably the worst some operators. I want to say that because my brother-in-law does,
I get it.
He's like second up to a Chick-fil-A, so he does pretty well. But I know what you're saying.
That's fine.
I know what you're saying.
So like our goal here at Someday Homes really is like, come over here, be an agent, get as much experience as you can, make some money doing it, and then we want to teach you how to take that money and roll it into investments and roll it into starting another business. Use the experience we have in those avenues to work yourself out of a job. Start buying your own properties. Start doing your own construction properties. Start getting into the stock market if the stock market's your avenue. But take your income from sales, roll it into something else so you can get out of sales.
The thing is that all these agents, even lenders, they all start from the same playbook. So it's like, if I'm a brand new loan officer, they're telling me to come in, go take donuts to real estate offices, go do all this. I'm like, these are plays from eons ago. And maybe they'll work sometimes, but agents are doing the same thing. Like, come in, we'll educate you. Oh, here's the playbook for it. When in reality, some of the stuff is very outdated, and maybe it'll get you a deal or two here, but a lot of it for me is like cringe.
Well, like when I reactivated
you want to see me coming through your door right here with donuts and be like, hey man, want to send me some business? Like,
it drives us nuts. And we're a construction company as well, so like all the time we get, hey, guys that come in, who are you getting your floors from? And then they want to give us a pitch, and it drives Matt crazy because he's like, bro, I'm in the middle of my workday and you just randomly interrupted it. And then like if you want to come talk to us about like we should get insulation from you or floors from you, or you should be our lender, call me, schedule in a time to come in and sit down with me for 30 minutes when I have undivided attention to give you, and then we can discuss it versus this like little pop by world. Same thing, when I reactivated my license in 2018, and to this day, like I barely get on the phones. I do get on the phones. I do call people for business. I do that. But I don't
talk to me a lot.
I don't sit there and like dial for dollars like they used to do. And I remember I was making videos and I was posting them, and people were like, well, that's cool and all, but like, what are you doing to grow your business? And I'm like, this is what's growing my business. And to this day, like, social media and interaction there is like the leading source of my business, and not just the source of business, but how I'm connecting with people and letting them know who I am, so that when the need arises, they're like, hey, you know what? For years, I've seen Nate posting this stuff. I've seen him talk about this. I know he has the experience. I know he has the skill set, and I know I can trust him with the business.
And starting out, it's hard. Obviously, I mean, you're probably going to start these plays of dropping donuts at realtors' offices, but at the end of the day, it's about providing value to your partners. And if you're somebody just coming in with donuts, you're not providing anything to them except donuts.
We're real healthy around here, so
you have to really, as a lender, as an LO, really any type of sales that you do, you've got to provide value, and value is not coming in saying, I've got low rates and programs, like, use me. It's really spending the time, investing the time. You're not going to build a business in a day.
No.
It's going to take years and years to build those relationships. But then once you do, these are the kind of things that are important to make sure that you're still providing value to your referral partners.
That's right.
Next one I got, it's probably the last one I got, but gatekeeping.
Ooh.
So gatekeeping is very frustrating. If you're working with a buyer, and a lot of times with my buyer's agents, we're having these communications like, what are they pre-approved for? What's their maximum? Have you looked at taxes? All these different things that we're considering. And in some cases, like, hey, their budget's here. We've got to keep it low, so we may come in with a low offer.
Yeah.
And if that happens, the most frustrating thing that can happen is you get an agent that's like, nah, they're not going to accept that.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't care if they're going to accept it or not. It's your job to present it. You're making, well, maybe not as much now, but 3% on a deal, and you want to hold offers away because you think it's too low for somebody. If they want to do that, then let them counter. But it's your job to present that to them, not to tell me what you think they're going to say.
Yeah.
It's a big frustrating point because, in a lot of cases, or if a problem, let's say an appraisal comes in low, and like, hey, we need to restructure this to do this or that or whatever it is. Oh, the seller's they're not gonna like that. They're not gonna. They told me before they don't want to do that. I'm like, well, I'm telling you now to take this to them, and I want feedback. Otherwise, I'll pick up the phone and I will call them myself to get a straight answer. Like, it shouldn't have to be like that. If it's a crazy offer, you still present it, whether they're gonna balk at it or whether they're gonna accept it.
Yeah. Now there's transaction brokers and single agents, and there are terms in the listing agreement, like withhold verbal offers or withhold all offers once something's accepted, and that kind of applies to me. I had put the verbal offer one in there, and what I consider the verbal offer is the email from the investor that's $100,000 on a $500,000 house. Sure. I don't need to waste my people's time with that. But yes, I do.
I mean, that's the extreme side, but like, hey, they're coming in
right
25,000 lower than asking.
No, I do.
Like, we should present this offer to them.
I do see that, not so much in the, I don't probably see it as much as you, but I do see it when issues arise or when there's things that we got to sort out, where I reach out to the agent and I'm like, hey, here's what's going on and we need this. And they give me instant, oh man, I don't know. Like, okay, well, talk to them and let me know how, same thing you're saying. And I'm the same way of dealing. Like, as a transaction broker, I don't really speak on the client's behalf. So like anything that comes to me, I just say, okay, thanks. I'll talk to them and I'll let you know. Like that's literally what my job is, not to give my kind of, I think people think it's like helping negotiate, like they're pre-negotiating to kind of set the tone so that you go back to your client and you're like, oh, the agent said no, but he's going to try, like, and kind of like protect that.
Something I learned earlier in my career is that it's not about me. It's not about what I want. And there have been cases in lending where I'm like, I personally wouldn't do this, but I know it's your only option. Yeah. It's what we have to do. And you want to do that, so we're going to do that. I wouldn't do that, but it's not my decision. And so you as a realtor, as a lender, we can't make decisions for people. It's important that you're discussing those things and that there is an understanding there.
Well, it goes back to the first one we said. I would never let somebody park their car in the garage, but if the buyer's agent's like, can they park their car in the garage? I'm like, let me ask the seller and I'll let you know.
Yeah, even though ask them, and then they can say yes or no, but you're not going to be like, no, they won't say yes to that.
Yeah.
That would be gatekeeping. And even though it's kind of a ridiculous thing, it's your job to at least go and tell them that. Now, and the same thing, that's something else that I put down here. I don't know if you've ever done this or if you've ever seen it happen. But
Right.
saying there's multiple offers when there's not multiple offers.
That's such a tough one. I don't do that. And I don't talk about multiple offers unless I actually have 4 or 5 multiple offers. And right now, buyers have been so on the fence and they're not as committed as they used to be. And so even if you only have like 2 or even 3 and you're like, hey, we have multiple offers, there's a chance you're going to spook like 2 out of 3 and get stuck with the worst one. And so I don't do that. I have had
Because
agents.
what's the mentality of a buyer? Like, oh, if there's multiple offers, I'm probably going to get screwed in this. In some way. Like, or I'm going to have to overpay. I'm not going to get the concessions that I need, that sort of thing. So you could scare some folks off when you're overplaying your position.
And I don't count those email offers that are $300,000 low either.
Sure,
and I think when you hear that, because I get 3 or 4 of those on every listing that I have. I mean, they're spam. And they come in
But
like crazy.
That's not what I'm talking about. I mean,
No, but I think that they count those. I think
Okay,
they're like, oh,
okay.
this is they're standing on this like, I'm not lying. Technically, I'm not lying.
I mean, my honest opinion, I think some of them are lying because they're like, oh man, and we're gonna try to get more money from my buyer and blah blah blah. I'm gonna be so cool.
I think
so great.
No,
like,
it's a
we're
risky
multiple
move.
offer situation, highest and best, and like, nah, man, I'll move to the one that's down the street, looks exactly the same as yours.
Yeah, that's typically. Yes, and I don't see. I've been in some multiple offers this year randomly, but it's usually like within the first hour that a listing has been on the market like 25 days, and then it's like, well, we've got and it's like,
Yeah, no, dude, it'd be like, let's see, you've been on market 180 days. We put an offer in. Oh, we're in a multiple offer situation, dude. You are not. I'm sorry. You're unless the stars have a line for my person that all of a sudden wants this house and you multiple offer situation. No, you're not, dude. Come on, let's be real.
yeah, it is. That's a tough one.
So it's frustrating because it's basically trying to put your client to a worse position because every time multiple offer situation, you're probably not going to get the deal that you want.
Right.
You have to concede or pay more or whatever to get that house.
All right, the last one I want to talk about is agents who don't understand the contracts.
Sweet.
Here at Someday Homes, we are big on understanding the contracts and teaching those contracts to our agents. Too many brokerages don't do that. They're big on the like motivation and the rah rah rah,
And they treat it like the Apple update,
get your
right?
calls
Where
and
it's like you swipe and you're like, I agree.
yeah. And so
Nobody even knows what's inside of the contract.
So we have different contracts. We have standard contracts. We have as is. Technically, you could find a whole myriad of different contracts.
Yeah.
But we, Matt and I, we're big on the contracts. We really geek out on them. We've got Maria as our attorney. She is so good and always reachable. If I give her a call on her cell phone, she's going to answer, and she's going to almost immediately answer any questions we have. So we've got that access, which is great that a lot of people don't have. I certainly didn't have that at the other brokerages I was at, and there wasn't really any emphasis at all on how to utilize the contracts, on how to protect your clients, on how to protect yourself. There's this standard contracts that we get from the Florida bar, the as is, take that one. There is a bunch of fill in the blank stuff, and I get it. But a lot of the stuff that people just leave blank all the time. The perfect one is in the financing contingency. There's a box, financing contingency, and the required fill-ins are like, hey, you got to apply within 5 days, and then your loan approval deadline, and it needs to be a couple days inside of your closing date. But then there's stuff in there like, is it
repairs are one, right?
Well, yeah, but still on this one, is it fixed or what's it? I put in there, all right, it's a financing contingency, but my guy doesn't want to pay over like 7%. Nobody fills in the percent block. And most agents don't want to fill that in because then they know the deal might not close if the guy comes back with a higher interest rate and blah, blah, blah. But that gets kicked back all the time. Like, people are like, what is this? We don't know. Like, they get so stuck on the social norms of filling in the contract that anytime you actually use the contract in the way it was written, there's another one in there for compensation.
What do you think the percentage is? I mean, this is just a ballpark, but percentage of people that actually understand every detail of a contract versus not?
Like
50?
10.
10% that do understand it?
Oh, yeah.
And 90 that are just changing the name, the address, and the date,
And they have
then
no
sending
clue.
it out without even.
And it goes back to the transaction thing. They call up their transaction coordinator and ask
I
them
need
to
a
fill it
contract
out
on
for
this
them.
right now, and they just fill in the blanks and have no idea.
Which technically they're not supposed to be doing if the person's not licensed, but whatever.
Well, we know what happens.
So they really just don't. They don't understand it, and they don't, and nobody teaches it. So some of it's their fault, but the other side of it is nobody teaches it. They're all big on the rah rah rah, on the motivation side, on the like you can do it, get out there, and instead of like, hey, let me actually show you what makes you an actual asset to your clients, so that like your business is solid, your business will grow then. So we're big on it here. I'm big on it. I've always been big on it. And I like to use it. There's all kinds of addendums and stuff. And then like at the bottom of the page, there's literally a checkbox that says seller counters, buyers, offer. And then there's a blank space where there you can write in like the counter to it.
Yeah.
And then, dude, so many people just like every time I've used that, people are like, I don't know, this doesn't make any sense. They just can't they can't even understand it. And I'm like, how do you get paid so much money? And how can you look yourself
I think we've
in the mirror
operated in
and
a
work with
market
your-
so long until the lawsuit came through a year and a half ago, whenever that
Yeah.
was. We were just operating off of probably fill and click, with these contracts. But I know we've said a lot of negative things out, but I will say there are a lot of agents that do a really great job. You're one of them. You're one of the hardest working agents I know. I have an agent out in Tampa that I work with. I'll call her out, Angela Royster. She's one of the hardest agents I've ever seen work. This lady will drive hours. She like services all over Florida.
Yeah.
And goes the extra mile. If it's a hairy kind of situation with credit, she's right there with me, jumping in, trying to get these clients approved. It's not just like, oh, help them if you can. So a lot of agents do. You do a really great job of that. You're very hands on.
Thanks, man.
You know what's going on within your files, and I feel like our relationship's been strong with that. Same with Angela in Tampa. It's really great just because we've learned to communicate. We know how each other's work. If a problem comes up, we address it right away. We don't let it fester. And so there are a lot of wonderful agents out there that do a great job. So this is not a knock on all agents. It's just kind of some of the things that we see. And if you're an agent out there that's newer, hey, these are great takeaways for you to be like,
Yeah.
hey, these are things I probably should not do or work on or make sure I'm doing correctly instead of just thinking that I know it all. You can always learn this industry. This is my 15th year, not being the 35 year, but I'm still learning things. Like, I mean, there was something yesterday that I just like, man, I did not even realize that was the case. Pretty complicated situation, but it caught me off guard. I'm like, all right, well, I got to pivot now.
Well, you have to be open to learning.
Yes.
And I think with our generation, that's been it. Like we came through the like Y2K, we came through all this stuff. So like we've lived in a world where like everything is constantly changing. So we're a little more adapted to like, okay, if I got to pick up something new and run with it, that's fine. Where the older generation didn't really have that. And so now that things are moving doubly fast, it kind of like, that's why it's easy to pick at them, right?
And we have a generation, I think, that just wants things to be easy.
And there are
get rich quick scheme, and like it's just not. There's a discipline
Yeah.
to this, and it's not. You're not going to just get rich quick. Maybe you put a sign yard and it sells. You think you're the best agent ever, but
it's a job
residually,
too.
you're going to have to like learn how to do the industry, and it's not just going to be like, let me watch a YouTube video, then I can go do it.
Right.
I think our generation now is just so like, oh, I want it to be quick and easy, and it's just not. There's a different work ethic that it takes to succeed in this industry.
Well, that was a long one today, but there you have it. 5 things basically we landed on that drive us nuts about the real estate industry or working with agents and lenders, at least.
It, though, man. We love it,
Dude,
I don't know anything else, so we love it. But yeah,
I like it too, and I like the opportunity. And like I said, we're built here for like, hey, come in here to our brokerage, work as hard as you can, make money for sure. Everybody's working, but then take that money and learn how to start a business, start a property management company if that's your thing, invest in the stock market if that's your thing, buy properties, do construction, do flips, whatever it is, take that money and then create like a source of money. And if you want to keep doing sales just for your VIPs or your book of business, and then you've got this other thing growing, but our idea is like work yourself out of a job, like progress in the industry. You don't need to just stay in one spot forever. You
If
can
you are,
progress.
they're probably taking half your money.
Yeah, that too. Or you're just never going to get off of it,
Which you'll have some brokerages that'll be like, "Hey, come in, we'll train you, but we're going to keep half your money." And
Yeah.
you're going to realize that we trained you up a little bit, but now we're taking away too much. And I've seen some agents just like, you're paying your company, and you got to pay your team, and you got to pay your transaction coordinator. So half of what you're making is gone.
Well, that's
Maybe that's not the right brokerage for you.
That's
you know?
people who get wrapped up on units versus their gross commission income. They get so wrapped up on the units, and that's a big win, and it feels good to be closing 3, 4, 5 deals a month. And I closed 18 deals already, right? But you gave away
30 grand.
Yeah, you gave away 50-60% of the split. And so, what if you did 9? What if you had more time with your family? What if you had more time to rest? What if you had more time to dedicate to your clients and create a good
Would
service?
you rather close 3 or close 9 and make the same money?
Yeah.
You want to close 3. Like, you're doing all this extra work, and some of these, even with lenders, same way. It's like you go to some of these places and they're not going to pay you anything.
Right.
And you gotta basically do quadruple the volume to make what the other guy or girl is doing on a much smaller amount. So where you are is very important. And when you become a very seasoned agent, or you get a little better at being an agent, like, find somewhere that is gonna take care of you and provide more for your family.
Yeah. No, I met with
You guys are awesome. You guys do a really great job.
Thanks, man. I met with a guy recently, and like that was my answer. He's like, "Well, I'm doing this. I'm doing X amount of deals. Our split is this. The split's way higher." And he's kind of like his question is like, "How can I spend more time with my family and still do this?" And I was like, "Do less." Like, the answer is do less. Mm-hmm. Like, go to a place where the split is lower and do less. You're still providing a great service for the clients, the ones that matter, and then you're getting to spend more time with your family, and you can make the same amount of money. Why would you not do that? So, all right, man. Well, the first episode with the new name, Beyond the Sign.
Yeah.
Which I think fits. We're going a little bit deeper than just the sign in the yard or just the basics, and we hit on all of that today. So, great content there. Great to have you as always.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in.